Bonjourno, Southern Hang Familia. It's Neil Wilding, fresh off a family trip to Italy, joined by my good friends Brian Redmond, Craig Cotton, Sherman Brown. For the next 45 minutes, I figured I'd just, brag on how great my vacation was in Italy. We're going to talk planes, trains, and automobiles. Those aren't pillows. No, we're not going to talk more 80s movies with John Candy and Steve Martin. This week, we're going to talk travel. We're going to take a stroll through my 2 weeks in Italy, which included a destination wedding for my brother. Congrats, Nate and Danielle. Ladies, sorry if we lost you last week with all the grass cutting talk, but I figure this one might be right up your alley. We're going to also talk typical Italian tour spots like the Duomo, the Colosseum, Sistine Chapel. And then we'll also talk some of this out of this world, not at all typical Italian locales, places I went to like Sorrento and the Amalfi Coast and the gorgeous views that came with it. And it's not easy to get over there either. We're talking 8 to 10 hour flights, depending on the jet stream. So I figured we'd also talk a little airplane travel etiquette. Fellas, y'all ready to get started? How have y'all been?
Been good.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Been good.
Welcome back to the States.
Yeah, man, I was gone 2 weeks. It was quite the trip. Have any of you all ever been on a 10-hour flight?
Went to Spain once. That was a long flight.
Eight for me.
Yeah, 8. I'm thinking I did Peru, and then also the places you went to in Italy. I went to 2 of those, so I'm eager to hear. But that was 15 years ago, so I've forgotten half of it. So we'll
Sweet.
Did Hawaii.
If you cross over 5, I think if you cross over like 5 hours, you're suddenly getting into like, man, it's a different level of travel. So before we get into Italy, let's talk airplane travel etiquette. Any thoughts on like when you get on an airplane? Like thoughts on like how do you battle for who gets the armrest, or how far are you allowed to lean back, especially on a long flight? Thoughts, fella Redmond? You're already chuckling. Tell me thoughts.
Well, the first thing I think about with airline travel is not getting on the flight; it's getting off the flight. And I don't know when it started, but the thing that you guys have known me for a while. I probably have a lot of pet peeves. It's not just one or two, but when the plane lands and you hear the ding, it's not a fucking race to get up out of your seat and go all the way down the aisle. Like, what am I missing there? Where are these people going? And it's not even like you're trying to get a connection. It's not Atlanta, right? It's not Chicago. You're in Louisville. You're in Louisville at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's your destination,
right?
Yeah.
And when you stand up, so now do you do the passive aggressive thing where you stand up and just to make sure nobody behind you runs forward? Because that's what I do. I'm standing up and I just stand up and just stand there in the way. I'm like, all right, this is the way it's going to go.
I'm always the aisle guy, but I know where the button is under the armrest, and as soon as we do the ding, I flip the armrest up and I slap my leg out in the aisle. And I'm like, no, you ain't walking past me. We ain't doing this. But I'm still the sit down dude. But I just do the let me stretch out a little bit now that we can, and I flip the armor. But you're not going past me, like you knuckleheads that think you're gonna run down the aisle. Like, no, this is a everybody gets off the bus the same way they get on. Yeah.
That is so my move, Craig. I'm so glad to hear you say that. That just warms my heart a little bit.
So what about this one? So like, because I've noticed lately, if the plane is delayed a little bit, they'll come on and they'll make an announcement and they'll say, some people are on some short connections. So if you are at your final destination, if you could just stay seated and let those other people off, and then immediately not one person waits. And
except for you. If I feel like I'm the only one, like I'm waiting.
I'm a rule follower. You give me a rule, I'll follow it. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Or the guy that's sitting by the window in your aisle, and he's like, "Hey, I got to get out. I got to get my bag." And you're like, "Buddy, we're on row 15. When we get out, then you get your bag. You're gonna be okay. You're just gonna have to sit there." You're going to have to be patient. We're not all getting out of the aisle so that you by the window can get out to get your bag and then take up space in the aisle. Yeah, oh, buddy, yeah.
So what about when the person next to you, the elbow is starting to cross over the armrest and it's like in your territory? What's the move to make them aware that they're in your territory?
That's a good one.
Throwing bows. I'm not throwing bows, but I will, just kind of put my elbow right on there and just kind of elbow to
Do a little
elbow.
stretch.
Nah, it's not even that. I just put it right on the elbow and just kind of, meet them right where I'm at. It's like, all right, we'll just hold hands pretty much, but it's elbow to elbow, and we'll make it real uncomfortable. Like if that's what you're gonna do, then here we go.
I like to act like I'm going to sleep, and then I just put my head on their shoulder.
Do you couple that with putting your feet over in the other aisle, similar to out in the aisle for the end? As everybody's getting off, you just go all in, just lean over.
It is not easy pulling double duty, Sherman, but sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Hey, and speaking of feet, I don't want to see yours on a flight.
Mm-mm.
Wear some closed-toed shoes. Don't be coming up on a flight a grown-ass old man with crunchy toes wearing flip-flops. Put your shoes. Wear closed-toed shoes. Like, I know that the world is not what it used to be, where people went on a flight and you wore, a suit and tie and all that kind of stuff. But let's have a little bit. Let's wear some closed-toed shoes. Let's let's dress it. We're not showing up on the plane in pajamas. Come on now.
Cotton,
I don't
it's been a while, but I saw somebody clipping their toenails on a flight.
Oh, that'd be foul.
And I mean, to me, it was and they weren't next to me. This was like an aisle up or a row up in the other aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Sure, that's close. That's close enough to catch shrapnel, though. I mean, just an aisle away, you might get hit with a little flyer.
It was bad. It was bad. What about the? This is one, and Neil, since you referenced for the ladies, I will say, ladies, if your hair's in a ponytail or anything you got going on, it stays on your side in your seat, not going behind you. It does not. I don't care where your ponytail is. If you're leaning back, you don't throw it over your seat so that the person behind you is dealing with it, or you can't even see their. If you got a screen on there, just keep that in your seat.
I'm with you, Sherman. I feel like if they throw it over the seat, it becomes our ponytail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, subject to cut.
I got to be able to see my screen.
I never had that one.
I did have that to me. I just tapped on that one. I just tapped and said, "Hey, you got it. This ain't happening." It was. I did
have the flight where I sit down and it's a pilot. He's a pilot and he's in the middle seat and he's already, like, as soon as I sit down, I mean, I'm taking both. I'm taking both armrests. Like I as soon as I sit down, I go, "Dang, this boy's aggressive!" Like minute one, and so the whole time I'm like, but it's a short flight. I'm like, I don't feel like getting into all this. So I've got the right cheek. I'm hanging over, and and I'm not really arguing. And then, but as soon as we land, he's like, "I got to get up," and I'm like, "Buddy, you of all the people
live on planes.
You should know that we're not going. There's nowhere to go. Everybody else in front of us is stood up. There's nowhere to go. But I gotta get out. So the whole time I'm just doing the look of disdain. Like, come on, dog. Like, how bad? How pitiful are you? Yeah. Oh, I'm giving everything. I'm making sure he sees my eyes when I look at him. Like, you are pitiful. You're a grown ass man and in the business and don't have a clue. Like, this is pitiful. So. Yeah, that was a bad one, and I probably fly too much. So.
What about I was kind of wondering this on a long flight, because I think on short flights, when people are going to lean the chair back into me, I'm like, come on, it's a 45-minute flight, we're going to be fine here. But when they start to lean in a little bit, but long flights, you're going to have some forgiveness there.
I think you gotta, right?
Yeah.
Or you got to have that conversation real early.
Yeah,
right. You just don't want to be the guy you don't want to be the guy at the very last seat where you ain't got no room to go back, and now the guys you're massaging the dude's temples in front of you. If everybody just keeps leaning back, you eventually get where you're good, and it's the last guy that gets screwed. So
yeah.
Well,
I haven't
I
done
try
I
not
haven't done a
to.
real long one though in a little while. Mine are all hour, 2 hour,
the
and I'm
lean
getting
back. Go ahead.
and I'm getting a little bougie too. Sorry, fellas. I fly so much for work that my points are now pretty good, and my status is elevated. So
Mm.
I'm like 3 or better always getting on the flight. And usually here lately I've been getting bumped up. So my grumpy old manness is getting worse. Where I'm like, oh motherfucker, all I'm gonna get is the peanuts today. Like, come on, I don't want that Bischoff cookie. I want some good stuff. I like my drink in a glass.
And before we take off.
Yeah, yeah. Where's my offer for a little, midday beverage? Yeah.
Mm.
Mm,
Speaking of
getting
food, so if you're bringing food on the plane, is there anything that is a complete no-no?
Fish.
Mm-hmm. I take it like it's kind of like if you worked in a cubicle, like you ain't if you're not eating something that at your cubicle that the guy next to you has to deal and put up with, very similar, and this is even closer quarters. But yeah, I think fish would be.
I did get on a plane, and I remember making the comment, and I'm like, "What is that smell?" And I don't remember what it was. And it might have been a tuna fish, like they had a Subway tuna fish or something. I'm like, "What? Man, the plane is." And as soon as I got to my aisle, the lady's like, she's the one eating her Subway tuna fish sandwich, and I'm like, "Oh," she's like, "I think it's me." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." I guess I'm
I
like,
guess you're going to throw that
yeah,
away.
I'm like, "Oh man."
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean. I just thought the plane smelled. I just thought the plane smelled funky, and then here I've messed up this,
It's just you.
yeah.
Oh man. Any other thoughts before we dive into to my trip over to Europe?
Yeah, I don't want to hear your whatever you're listening to without put your earbuds on. Nobody wants to hear whatever video you're playing so that you can listen to it. I don't want to hear it too. Put your earbuds on.
Music or movie or
Music,
show,
movie,
all
For
of
yeah,
it.
sure.
your conversation with your grandma. I'm
Mhm.
sure she's sweet. Put your earbuds in your ears. I don't need to
The,
hear it.
the
So,
Or
tough
the
conversation is when you got the little ones watching Bluey or whatever.
oh yeah.
Mm.
well, I got two things here before we move on. So, one, you bring up the movie, right? And in-flight entertainment, you've got a
Mm-hmm.
plethora, if you will, of options. And
Yeah.
not that they have racy content on there, but every now and then there's a movie that's it's got a lot of violence, or maybe it's got a little sneaky peeky on some naked people or whatever it is, right? And
Mm.
if you're on the aisle and you've got in the row behind just this little kid, like, do you feel bad about that? Like, I I'll try to fast forward or kind of try to block the screen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of do like a little wave to the side here. Block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But is that on us? Is that on the airline?
I'm just picturing you right now in the aisle with this kid over your shoulder, and then the person next to you is exactly taking your elbow space, and you're like just kind of doing the Macarena.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening there.
yeah.
Oh.
African anteater ritual,
Right.
rocking it out, dude.
But so I don't know what the right answer is there. But the other thing, going back to pet peeves. So Craig, you're bougie, as you said here, getting up in the section 3, which is still like the 20th thing
Oh
to
yeah.
board. Right? There's first class, and there's premium first
Oh yeah.
class, and second class that used to be first class, but now it's a
Mm-hmm.
different class. But at any rate, wait till it's your turn to get up there. Right? So like the jetway is packed. Like, people are waiting
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
board. It's like, I'm sorry, are you in zone 5? Oh no, I'm in zone 8. Well,
Mm.
Yeah.
then
Standing
get out of
right
my
up
way.
front. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then, pardon me. I am earlier than you are, so if you don't mind, then I'm to give them the I'm bougie look. Oh,
Mm.
you and your open-toed shoes, beat it. Get to the back of the plane.
Do you give them the beatbox?
You,
Please.
yeah, come on, man.
Oh.
Yeah, that or
Yeah.
the businessman that thinks he's so important that he needs everybody to listen to his phone call. He'll have the earbuds in, but he's talking at a level of like at 38. And well, I got that meeting in Miami I got to get to, and you're like, shut the hell up, man! Like, talk in a normal tone.
I think Bob
Oh
and
yeah.
Tom used to have a skit on that. Kenny Tarmac was his name. And as soon as the plane, he's like, "Hey, guy, yeah, just landed ORD to LAX," and just everything he just said, right? Talking at level 11. He turned it up to 11.
See, I'm the other way around. I'm self-conscious about it, so I'm all trying to talk so quiet, and I'll be talking to Shane, and she's like, "You're mumbling. Like I can't even hear a word you're saying." I'm like, "Well, I don't want the whole world to hear what's going on."
She thinks you're trying to give her some pillow talk, and here you are just trying to let her know you landed safely.
That kind of is pillow talk. All right.
Did you say LAX? I did, baby. I did. Twice.
You get 26 years in. That's what you get.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, let's spend some time now on Italy. And so, first off, I just thought I'd give you some of my initial reactions. And I think, Sherm, you said you've been over there before. Initial reactions of Italy, first of all, beautiful, of course. It's kind of a, you got the historic architecture, with just like you're looking at these buildings that are just thousands of years of history. Is it's stuff you just don't see over here. But also, like if I had one adjective, it's like small. Everything over there is like shrunk, especially the showers. Like every shower that I had when I was over there, Craig, is probably the size of the shower in Bolivar.
Oh,
I mean, it's like they're so small that you can't even. Um, there's not one door. They have to take the corner of the shower to then like open up both sides of the corner just so you can fit through it. Tiny.
yeah. Okay. Well, so do they make up for that with shower pressure?
Shower pressure varied per Airbnb.
All right.
Some of them not so good. Others, some of them are like some of the nicest showers I've ever been in. They've just been like through the shrink machine.
Shower pressure goes a long way.
But are European people normal size? I mean, USA is industrial now. We put sugar in everything, so we're all big. These are probably people that eat normal food and don't have everything, filled, and so maybe they fit in those showers. And they're like, "Hey, look, another fat American, poor guy can't fit in our showers." They do that on purpose.
I feel like all the rooms were like that, Neil. Like not just the bathroom, not just the shower, but everything was just smaller and more compact. And like even if you're in a queen bed, you when you get out of bed, it's like you're struggling because the wall is right there, no matter where you get out. Like there's not a lot of space.
Well, and in planning the trip, we ended up choosing Airbnbs in each city because we could all stay in the same place. If we were going to stay in hotels with 5 of us traveling, we were going to have to book 3 hotel rooms because all the beds are tiny. And so we were like, nah, we'll just do the Airbnb thing. So yeah, everything is kind of shrunk, including the roads. Like it's tiny. I mean, and so I was talking to one of the cab drivers there about it. He said, well, shit, the city's, thousands of years old. It was built for horses and buggies, and it wasn't built for cars. And I'm like, okay, heard.
Are you speaking Italian? Are you fluent?
Dude, I went over there with 100% American arrogance. I spoke the world's language, which was English.
World's language.
And yeah, I'm sure they rolled their eyes at me and like, here comes another dude from the States expecting me to speak English. But
another guy asking for ranch dressing. Here we go.
Well, and the funny thing is, when I knew he didn't understand me, I was like, my instinct would be like, oh, okay, well, I'll go try and speak in the one foreign language I know a little bit, which is Spanish, and that doesn't do any good in Italy. So, although it is still a Romance language.
Did you start saying it louder, like when they don't understand you, like the volume's going to help with the
louder
translation?
And slower?
Yeah.
Still, I don't know.
Or just put a O or an A at the end of everything. Hotel-O.
I tried to play charades a few times and draw pictures with my fingers, and that didn't get me very far either.
All right.
I did learn Bonjourno though. Bonjourno. That's about all. And ciao.
Don't they have like the text to talk translator deal? Now you can just say what you want in English, and then it spits it back out in whatever language
Yeah.
you're trying to. Don't they have that
Yeah,
thing?
and the drivers would do that, like,
Yeah.
especially on the tours. Like if you're, they'd get there and they'd say something in Italian
Mm-hmm.
and hit the button, and it would, Siri voice back to us what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
So that was handy. So let's start with my first spot. So when I flew in, I flew into Venice, and that was, but we didn't spend any time there. That was really just the most affordable airport to fly into. So when I talk about planes, trains, automobiles, and buses, shuttles, cars, we were on pretty much every mode of transportation. So we fly into Venice and immediately took the train into Florence. And one of the things I learned immediately upon boarding the train to Florence is that we brought way too many suitcases. I mean, we were there like 11 days, so we needed clothes. But we got 7 bags trying to go through and fit it on a train. That wasn't easy.
And you're going to a wedding, so you got like the change of clothes and dresses and everything else for the whole family and
Yeah,
suits.
we'll get to that
Yeah.
because it was black tie. So
Oh,
we had suits and everything. But
yeah.
I forgave my family for packing so much stuff. But on the train, man,
That,
it made for an interesting challenge.
that's an average weekend at the lake with Tammy. I got like 4 bags I got to carry. What are you talking about? If we're going to Italy, buddy, I'd be like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
borrow some other people's luggage. Yeah.
Now, on that train ride, Neil, the one thing that I remember is I took that same train. I think the same train, and there was as we
I
were
saw a
going.
little thing that said Sherman was here. That must have been you.
Right? Yeah, we signed that. We marked that up. But I sent a picture to my dad of a baseball field that was just in the middle of nowhere. It was like a little, maybe two baseball fields, but next to each other. And I still think about that every time of like just different things that are going on in just rural Italy.
Yeah.
That just stuff you see, and you're just like, just the American pastime just rolling through, and like just our influence there, because obviously their influence over here and everywhere in the world is huge. But just the little things that we've done, thought it was pretty cool.
That is cool. I missed that. I must have been packing, like trying to get my suitcases to fit into the thing above and missed the baseball field. But I wish I had seen it. So when we got to Florence, by the way, my daughter Emma, I should give her credit. She booked everything that we did. This was a no thinking vacation for me. It was awesome. It's part of one of the nice things about your kids getting older is that they turn into adults and responsible adults. She booked every plane, every flight. She bought the tickets in advance for every train that we took, every dinner reservation. This vacation was brought to you by TikTok because she studied everything on TikTok and had it all set. It was awesome. So the first thing we did there was like it was about a 5-hour tour through Florence, and so the ultimate goal of that tour was to not melt because it was like 100 degrees and 100% humidity, and it just felt like I was just in a boiling pot of water. It was so hot. But the first spot that we hit up was immediately like you could feel the history. We were at the forgive my American butchering the Italian, the Galleria Accademia, which that's where the statue of David was. And so that was cool, and getting to see that from all angles was cool.
How does theirs compare to ours? We got one downtown here in Louisville, right?
Ours here in Louisville. One is gold, first of all, and is what, 5 stories tall. The the original David. How tall is he, Neil?
It's like 5 feet.
Yeah, he's pretty. He's a small dude.
Well, there's your
So
answer. That's why the showers are so small.
there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, he's like 5 feet, and also disproportioned, as I learned. I'm not the art guy, but evidently, when he made his head bigger and his hands bigger. I, I don't know, something about art.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else there.
Well,
Judge for yourself.
we just stayed in Caesar's Palace in Vegas, and they had the David in the hallway. When you went to a certain part of the and every time we'd walk by it, it was just women taking selfies with David and his stuff,
uh-huh.
in the background. So I thought that was funny because every time we'd walk by, it's some taking a selfie, and they're like, "Look, it's a
Mm-hmm.
pee-pee."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That didn't happen in a museum, though. I would assume.
Yeah.
Neil.
No, but the thought was there, and there was a lot. There were a lot of packages going around the museum. I'll tell you that.
They're not afraid of their nude art.
No, no.
So give me the breakdown here, Wilding. So do you have fanny packs? Like, are we the Griswolds? Are we
Backpack. How you rolling?
So we went. So this one wasn't as long. This was only 5 hours. When we get to Rome, I did like an 8 hour deal. So here we did like the girls had like the fanny pack equivalent, but kind of over the shoulder.
Yep.
It was
The
like
the Lululemon bag.
yep, you know that.
You
And
gotta have the
so we got
Lululemon.
away with those. But also when you're over there, you got to be worried about the pickpockets. So
Yeah,
that's
roger
the
that.
first thing they'll tell you. So phones and wallets went in those, and so I paid my dues later at the Rome tour because I had to carry a backpack. But the Florence tour, I was it was the girls doing the work.
Is it primarily Americans going through here, or is it people from all over? Like, is it
All
just
over.
all over? Okay.
Yeah, all over. Yeah, I mean, and then when you choose your tour, you choose what language you want the tour in. So we were with all Americans.
Could you pick your dialect? You're like, hey, I'd like to have the Southern Kentucky, slightly southern hang,
What
twang to my
what
to my
you got
story.
here? See,
Yeah. Don't give me the Boston. Don't give me the Boston accent on this tour. That'll
Yeah, no, we get the the Italians, and very passionate about the art. So throwing all kinds of facts at me about the statue of David and Michelangelo, and how originally it was commissioned to Da Vinci, but he turned it down. Didn't know that. See, I learned a few things for this idiotic American that I am, but that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
sounds cool.
And so then after that, we went. We didn't go inside, but there's this huge cathedral there. Have you all probably seen some pictures, heard about the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore? And that, like I said, we didn't go in because it's basically just a big church. But the architecture of that building, I mean, the level of detail for like the multiple story, massive building that this was incredible. And so it was really cool to see. And they had a replica of David out there as well. And but the cathedral itself was hopping. It was cool. And then we wrapped up the day by going to the Uffizi Uffizi gallery, which is a pretty famous. Of course, I hadn't heard of it, but a pretty famous.
Killed it.
Is that
Did I?
Killed it, man. You hit everything, buddy.
Is that Riz's cousin?
yeah. All the Wu Tang was in there.
Emma, is Emma into art? Is this like something that she was into?
No. She
So
just
she
like
booked all
TikTok
this.
said, "This is what you need to do." Yeah.
Yeah, you all killed it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so there, you had all of the Ninja Turtles were all there too. Raphael, Michelangelo, all of them were had different pieces represented in there. Interesting part about this to me was some of the art that was in there. I mean, the tour guide was telling us about this, but like one of the things they did with with baby Jesus, when he was in the picture, they would put him with like a man face to show the significance of it. And Sherman's smiling at me, so he probably knows all these facts.
I'm only laughing because I see Redmond wanting to say 6-pound baby Jesus. I knew where he was going with it. I knew exactly where he was going. I knew right when you were talking about anything you were going to say about baby Jesus was.
It was all I could do not to say it. Thank you. Thanks for bringing it home. Thanks for bringing it home.
So anyway, yeah, we hit all the spots in Florence, and so that was pretty cool.
What'd you eat? What'd you eat in Florence?
Florence, well, pretty much everywhere you go, it's pizza, it's pasta, seafood is kind of the trifecta there. Usually, each place has like one good steak on the menu. Um, and the first night we were there we had traveled, so we just wanted to get something to eat. So we got some good Italian, pizza. And then the next night we had a really nice sit down dinner and got like an Italian style steak. And it was over there they price them by the kilo.
Yeah.
And I think our steak had it was funny. Shane ordered it, and it was more than a kilo. The thing was massive, but it was good. It was great. Great food, great wine, all the stuff.
Could
And
you tell?
you're a
Go ahead.
oh, I was good. And you're a non-coffee drinker, right? Because that's what I love getting a drink.
Yeah, I
Like
did not
real.
have coffee.
I
No.
love drinking coffee.
Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah. So, but you got some vino in you. You got some decent red
Yeah,
wine.
I mean, I enjoy wine. I don't know wine, so I just kind of said, I'll take whatever you're serving.
Whatever they plop down on the table, you're drinking.
But on the Italian wines, mostly over there, especially when you get in Tuscany, it's red wine is what they're known for. So you offend them by ordering.
I'm with you, Cotton. I was doing Americanos the entire time that I was there, just like, and they saw me coming, so it was like, we see you, dude. We know what you're wanting. Like, they didn't ask. They're just like, this is what you're getting. And I was good with it. They had me pegged, and there's a reason for it. That was
Right.
Yes, correct.
So then we head off to the wedding, which that's why we were there. So my brother, so my dad remarried, and I have a brother and sister that are a lot younger than me. They're in their early 30s, and so this was a destination wedding for him. And so we took a shuttle from Florence into the rural, can't even say that word, rural countryside of Tuscany. And oh my, like the countryside was like, this was just gorgeous. I mean, the place that we stayed was out in the middle of nowhere. And then you pull onto this campus, and it is, it's just some of the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen. The wedding itself was like 60 people that they brought in, and we were all in these private villas, all within like a mile or two on this campus where the wedding was. And they had a nice, like a welcome dinner and wine tasting. And it was all on kind of this campus here that was just incredible. And again, you're driving for like miles and miles of nothing, and then you kind of pull into this, and it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is sitting out here in the middle of nowhere. Breathtaking.
As you're going through the countryside, can you, like, did everybody just take it in and appreciate it, or is this like, are we just got our phones out the whole time taking pictures, or?
It's crazy. At first, that's what I was telling the whole family. I'm like, listen, let's enjoy this and take it in. And we do, but you almost get numb to it because it's like every piece of it is just stuff you don't see. But it does kind of become, it's just, okay, there's another gorgeous rolling hill.
Yeah.
These people also live in paradise.
I know, but completely different than Florence, right? Florence used to be one of the biggest cities in the world, and now it's not, but it used to be. And then you go out here, and it's just out like it's crazy. But I mean, again, props to Nate and Danielle. I mean, they pulled off an absolutely fairy tale wedding, and they were awesome entertainers. I just got to talk about it. So I was at this campus we were at this like villa area for 3 days. And I'm starting to wonder, where the heck are they getting married? And then finally, like the day of the wedding, they said, well, just walk out. It's going to be like right out there. And they're pointing. And I'm looking over this patio, and it had like a nice, like a concrete railing. And I thought that was just the end of the facility. and the end of the property. So I walk up and then I realize, oh no, this is like a ledge overlooking this garden that is like 50 feet down. And so you're like in the distance of the rolling hills of Italy and the Tuscany, but then down in this garden are these, probably 15-foot hedges, and it almost looked like a video game. They were so architect, and it was just amazing, just like the view. And so that view that I was looking out into was actually where the wedding party entered. So like ultimately, like when they start playing and the bride walked in, like she's standing up there from that view and walks down these marble steps all the way down into this garden. I'm not even doing it justice. And so what I figured we'd do is send some pictures out to our social media. So, listeners, make sure you're following our social media. Um, hit them with the handles, Sherman.
Social Hang Pod. So just hit us up. It's everywhere. Any of the socials, wherever you're at, we're at.
So I'll put some pictures because I'm not doing it justice because it is. I mean, I can't believe how picturesque this was.
Did the wedding coordinator bring in the sod father in anticipation of getting this garden in immaculate shape? Or
I mean, I think they listened to our podcast the week before, and they got some notes and had everything in line.
Got
so grass had enough iron in it. It was good.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure if y'all have ever had this, but at night the snails would come out and they would feast, and they'd be like, I mean, there was a whole talk of the wedding one night. The whole lawn was covered with like thousands of snails. It was crazy.
Put them in whatever that sauce is and cook them up, buddy.
Yeah, how about it?
Absolutely. Bring it.
A little delicatessen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, but anyway, it was a cool wedding.
You're not into the escargot?
All I'm doing is moving the word from the freaks come out at night to snails come out at night in my head. So I've got a whole different song. Snails come out at night. Snails come out at night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got that. That's all in my dumb brain. That's where I went to. So I'm sitting back here like, no.
You can. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Southern Hang wouldn't be what it is without it. Oh, so that was 3 days, and I just you think you just can't top it, but then we did 2 days in Rome, which I felt like it was more like homework. I felt like we had to do it. And again, the mission of that was don't melt, because it was even hotter. And Rome's like 5 million people, and I feel like another 5 million tourists. The city, I've never been to a city so packed, and I spent plenty of time in New York City. I mean, this was just like everybody right on top of each other. But it was cool because we got to see the Sistine Chapel, and that was you talk about walking into a building of history. I mean, that was pretty cool. They make you dress accordingly. So like I had to wear I could wear shorts, but it had to go down over my knees. Oh. And then the ladies, if they were wearing sleeveless, they had to wear like a shawl or something to cover their shoulders. Mm. So that they were real, there are lots of rules on that, but then they just pack you in like sardines into this building. But it was cool nonetheless.
Did you know this going in, or was there a little booth outside selling shorts, like with a little extra length to them?
It was, again, props to Emma. She knew, and she had all the rules. Yep. And in fact, they, because it's 100 degrees. And so there were dudes there with pants on. And we're like, nah. I at least wore the shorts long enough. But other people had pants and they changed into shorts after they left. Our girls brought like a little shawl that they just threw over their shoulders while they walked in. And it wasn't for the entire Vatican. It was just for the Sistine Chapel, where they have those rules. But again, it's cool to be in that building, knowing everything that went down there.
I think it's fun just to be there. It's like, you're walking in just the courtyard area right when you walk in, and everything just kind of opens up. You're in one of the, it's a country, right? I think it's like
Vatican is its own country. Yeah. The government.
So like
Mhm.
with a population of like 1,000 people or something, 800 people. It's like it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's very few and then mostly men. And
Mhm.
they even said there's no hospital in there, so there's never been a baby born in Vatican in that country. So
It's like Disney, where there's no death ever happens at Disney World.
right.
Like they get them out.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever
Right.
died here. It's the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, so that was cool. And then after that, we did the forum, which for me, I don't know, the forum was kind of, I don't know if I was getting to the point in the day because the Rome tour was 8 freaking hours, and I'm carrying a backpack, and and the heat was starting to get to me, and that was just kind of ruins. And I mean, I probably should have appreciated it more than I did. But after the forum, we hit the Coliseum, and that's badass. And of course, we had to do the obligatory. What do you think you got to say when you walk into the Coliseum? Are you not
Are you not
entertained?
entertained?
Yes,
Did
of
you
course.
did you front kick anybody when you did it? Did you front kick anybody 300 style and just like
I was
I
thinking
got
like
this one?
the thumbs up, thumbs down, right? Like let
Yeah,
them live or let
that's
them
where I
die.
thought you were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could have went a
yeah.
lot of ways, man. Could have went a lot of ways.
So, but the Coliseum's cool. You walk in there, and it's like being a
Is,
big sports fan. Like
is
you'll
that
read
is
about.
that just as packed too? Is that
Well, it's so big that it's spread out a little bit more. But I mean, there's a ton of people there for
yeah?
sure.
Yeah, I've watched a few things over the last few years talking about the amount of tourists that are now going and doing all this, and you know, trying to figure out, is there a better time of the year to get to go, and do they say that like you should come, I don't know, off season
Well,
during off season?
well, I'll tell you, we probably had the absolute worst time because it was like so hot, but also it was Jubilee. Like y'all Catholics, y'all know Jubilee. Like every 25 years in Italy, like Catholics like to converge to get blessed for 25 years worth of sins.
Mm.
I don't. I'm not. I don't tell myself. I'm probably not as practicing Catholic as what I should be. I don't know that I've ever heard the Jubilee.
I
I
don't think
hadn't
I've ever
heard it.
heard of that either.
I hadn't heard it either, but I'll tell you, a lot of people have because it was packed and prices were up a little bit because demand is so high during this time.
Maybe that's just straight up Roman Catholicism, and we're just over here practicing Jesuit, just our own stuff over at Saint X and Trinity and
Yeah, maybe.
whatever else. I don't know.
But it's every 25 years. So with it being the year 2025, it was, and they had like celebration, and it's the month of June, I think, too. So it
Mm.
was like while we were there, we caught it. But all good though. I mean, it was packed. But what I was ready to do was to leave Rome. Although, you speaking of food, we did hit the original restaurant that created fettuccine alfredo, which
Oh,
so that was pretty cool. So I had some
Olive
OG
Olive
Alfredo.
Garden. They have Olive Gardens over there
He
too, huh?
did, and breadsticks
Yeah,
unlimited. It was good.
Word.
yeah.
I feel like the Coliseum. The one thing that I remember thinking about that, memory is 15 years old, so I don't know, but I feel like you're in like like what you feel like. It's just kind of the city, and then you walk 2 blocks, and then boom, you just like literally walk right into the Coliseum. Just like you're kind of, it's in the middle of the city. It's not. I always thought of it. It'll be out, somewhere, whatever. And then
Out in
when
the
you
sub.
get there, suburbs or whatever it is. I mean, I just picture it like, far away, and it's not. It's like right there in the town, right where everything else is. And to your point on, uh, the ruins and everything else, you're walking, and it's just right there. It's like as you're just walking, people are walking to work,
Yeah,
you walk by it every day.
yeah. They said in this day, 55,000 people. Which, when you think about that amount of people, thousands of years ago,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I missed something. What are we saying? 55,000 people walk to work every day. What are we saying?
55,000 people capacity at the Coliseum in its heyday.
it's legit. It's that big. Like
Gotcha.
it is not. It is not your high school football stadium. It's big.
That ain't counting the Lions and
No,
the
that's all under the floor. They kept
yeah.
those guys under the floor. Hmm.
Mm.
Also on the floor, like in that arena, they got a bunch of sand.
Mhm.
Like that's kind of how they did it. And Latin and Spanish word for sand. You may know it.
Mm,
Arena.
mm.
No.
Arena, which is
Mm,
where we get the term arena. How about that? I learned a few things while I was over
did not know that.
Is
That's a
that
good one.
is that the whole tamale?
Whole
there.
enchilada.
Whole enchilada?
well, let's not fact check that episode. We're not going to revisit. We don't want to. I don't
Oh,
have receipts.
we're nothing if not bringing up old stuff, man. That's all we can do
Uh,
around here.
they probably got that from Maine too. They probably took that from Maine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was Rome. But then, like to me, the last 3 days of the trip was what I was really looking. Well, the wedding, but the was going down, and we took the train into Naples, and from there we took a shuttle or a car service down into Sorrento, and so there's like a little peninsula that kicks off of south of Naples, and man. First off, we passed Mount Vesuvius. So in our drive from Naples down to Sorrento, so we saw the big volcano there.
Red's going. He's quoting "White Man Can't Jump." I can see it in his eyes. Why?
There we go.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
I can, Mount Vesuvius.
That's right. Oh, Billy, you're so
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, man. And then we got into Sorrento though, and that was just 3 of the coolest days I've ever had. Like gorgeous, like it's on the water, so this is the water part of the vacation. We were in Airbnb like right smack dab in the middle of town, and so like we would walk outside of our Airbnb, and it was a full market with bars, restaurants, shops, gelato, whatever it was. It was all like we were just right in the middle of it. It was awesome. And then right down the street, like 10th of a mile, was the water. And these towns, man, like the cities are built on, like down there on that part of Italy, the cities are built on either on top of, or in some cases right in the side of these cliffs. So like when we we would walk down to the water and come up to the rail, and I would say like a couple of 100 feet drop down into the water to the point where you don't even walk. It'd take you half the day to walk. You got to take an elevator down to the beach. And then really it was these beach clubs. They built these like docks that kind of serve where you lay out, and they create these areas where you can go swim and hang out. But some of the most picturesque stuff that I've ever seen. We took a boat tour out to Capri, and the sunset
That's
over
those.
Capri.
That's those long pants you had to wear into the.
I
Into
did.
the
That's
Into the
right. Yeah, I
bed.
say
right.
I wore my Capri pants.
Yeah.
Capri.
Mm.
That's right. And then we saw some of
Can't
the
come
other
into this
towns.
church without your capri pants on. Sorry, sir.
Did they have little fruit drinks and pouches? That was a stretch. That was a
Yeah.
stretch. Sorry.
I
No,
They did have the sun, apparently.
lots
It
of
was hot.
sun. Well, get this. So it's so hot and it's picturesque, and so you wanted to take as many pictures. Our phones were literally overheating from, especially my girls, taking so many pictures, not because of the temperature, because they're taking so many pictures, they're burning up their devices. True story. And I mean like we had the sunset tour with the sun setting over the Isle of Capri. I mean, again, I'm going to have to send pictures through social media. I'm not doing it justice, but it was like you talk about postcards, and I mean, good Lord. And then we
and
also took, go ahead.
what body of water is that? You were swimming in this body
Ah,
of water?
shit. Hey, yeah, seas. I should know this. I should have done my homework. I don't remember.
Is
It's
that
on
the
the
Tyrrhenian Sea?
western coast of Italy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it
And then we
Tyrrhenian?
go ahead. Sure, if you say it, I
God
wouldn't
bless
know
you.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
I do know the names of the cities we hit, though. We hit Positano. We hit the Amalfi Coast, and those are the cities that are like literally built into the side of these cliffs. Like, and we're talking in some cases, 12, 1,300 feet in the like up into these cliffs. And this guy showed us this beach that is so secluded. It's this gorgeous beach, and there's nobody on it because you can't walk to it. He said if you were to walk to it from the parking lot, it would take you half the day to get down to it. So nobody does it. So the only way to get to it is through these boat tours. It was absolutely incredible.
And this boat just takes you up, drops you off, or
Well,
what are you doing?
We took a whole day boat tour. So they took us to Positano, they took us to the Amalfi Coast, and in between those two cities, they took us to like a beach to stop and swim and cool off and stuff. And then, kind of snorkel, check out all the fish. And
Emma picked all the badass places, but her
Emma
tours
killed
are
it.
all like 8 hours. Like she didn't like any 2-hour tours, or let's space this out into a 2-hour tour and then like a nap and then another 2-hour tour. We had
no time for napping, Craig. It's all business.
We're gonna chill. We're gonna chill on the beach and just have a beverage for a little while, and then no, it's
that's what dinner was for.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
The moment's over, buddy. Yeah. Get to getting. You got your picture. Go.
That's why we got
on to the next one.
So we got phones burning up. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Mm-hmm. All these tours, like they say it was 8 hours, but you took a break for lunch and it didn't feel like it.
Oh, there you go.
It was cool. And in each one of these cities, almost like you go into the city for an hour and then you go hit the next one. You go into that city for an hour, go swimming, all that stuff. So time actually went pretty fast.
No, it sounds incredible. All of it sounds incredible.
It does.
For sure. Mm-hmm. That was my trip, fellas. So I appreciate you letting me, kind of brag about my vacation.
Hell yeah.
It sounds like you're bragging on Emma because it sounds like she just destroyed this thing, just killed it. It's amazing.
I will tell you, I should. She was awesome, but also, like the whole experience was the most fun thing we've ever done as a family. Part of having your kids being older, we got to go over there. It was like hanging with, even just the prep for it too, and everybody getting ready for it and picking out the outfits we were going to do, and Emma talking about the schedule we were going to hit, and then actually getting over there. I was worried that everybody was so excited that it would be a letdown, and it was not at all. It was absolutely incredible. Lived up to every all expectations and then some.
So. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I feel like I've been.
Are you going to toss some Italian new music into the podcast, playlist? Are you coming back with, Il Nantino, some band that you found over there, and we're gonna get turned on to?
No, in fact, my son and actually, it might have been Isabel and Lance. I can't remember. They kept noting the popularity of Ed Sheeran over in Italy. Like everywhere we went, he's playing same old Shape of You, whatever song he's got. So anyway, no, mostly pop was playing over there. So
I'm picturing Ed Sheeran in every bar. Literally Ed Sheeran as you're rolling into each city, as you move around, you're following his tour.
Like,
you just happen to roll in.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
Of all the gin joints.
Yeah. Well, fellas, that was a fun little walk through my vacation. I'm not sure if you all have any other parting shots before we get out of here, but this has been quite memorable for me.
Tammy and I just got back from the Rough Riviera. Is that counts, right? That's about the same thing. Very similar.
Sometimes that's a different country.
Yeah.
Your bathrooms were probably the same size.
Bolivar's bathroom is very comfortable. Thank you. That is a very, very livable space. We'll have to go through the story of me trying to pull that camper out of the campsite this morning. I was worked up for 2 days. The Bolivar is too big for the campsites I'm picking sometimes. So he's nice.
Don't eat the snails at the Rough Riviera, though.
No, there's no snails.
Oh, no, you don't want to
catch any snails, don't eat those.
No.
All right, gang.
All right, fellas, it's time to wrap.
Welcome back to the States, buddy. We're glad to have you back.
Ciao, baby.
They're even there.
Next time.